This is my quick review of Bob Marley, One Love. Now, I need to say from the outset that I don't think I'm the target demographic for this movie. I'm not a Bob Marley fan. I don't know much about him or his music. I'm not a reggae fan. And so I think throughout this movie, there are a lot of needle drops of his famous songs, which some of them I recognize, but they don't do anything for me. And I think they probably are very impactful for a lot of people. But I just have to judge this on its merits as a movie. So doing that, let's look at the movie. It's directed by Ronaldo Marcus Green, whose name I didn't recognize, but I have seen some of his work. He directed King Richard, which I thought was a really good movie and a great vehicle for Will Smith. This movie has 4 writing credits. Now, if you've ever listened to the Jeremy and Andy Talk Movies podcast, which if you haven't, you should check it out, we see on there all the time that a lot of writers is almost always the sign of disaster for a movie. 3 or more writers usually means there's not a good central vision and too many ideas are going on. The actors in this movie, I think this movie had talented actors in it, but I had a hard time telling if they did a really good job. Kingsley Ben-Adir played Bob Marley. Bob Marley's son, Ziggy Marley, actually helped with the casting of him because I think he brought a really good energy to the role. And then Lashana Lynch played his mom, Rita Marley, played Ziggy's, not Bob Marley's, Bob Marley's wife in the movie. And I think she's really good. She's really good in The Woman King, but most people probably recognize her from Captain Marvel, which didn't get to show how good that she is because it's Captain Marvel. But they were speaking in really heavy Jamaican accents. And this is, again, where I'm probably just uncultured because I couldn't tell, are these good Jamaican accents or are these bad Jamaican accents? I really can't tell. What I do know is, though, that I had a hard time following a lot of the dialogue, and I thought I really need subtitles because I'm missing a lot here. And again, probably just my fault for not being cultured enough, but I'm not really good at understanding people speaking in heavy Jamaican accents. I also want to just say that I think the wig was kind of tough on Kingsley Ben-Adir because the whole time I just kept thinking he just doesn't look right. Something looks off about him as Bob Marley. And then I saw a picture of the real Bob Marley next to a picture of him as Bob Marley. And I thought, well, there it is. Bob Marley's hair is clearly grown out into the dreadlocks, looks natural on his head. And the other guy is wearing a wig, a really big dreadlocks wigs. And I'm just going to say dreadlock wigs, kind of hard to pull off and not just stare at the whole time while you're watching the movie. In the end, I really think this movie just didn't have enough to really say or unique to say about Bob Marley. They really kept anythings with him, interior, conflict. There wasn't that much of it. It wasn't that much about like his struggles as a person. It was more just about like the struggles going on around him and his struggles to get his message out amidst all these struggles. And so it was kind of felt like a Disney-fied drama. I think there's a lot more that they probably could have explored about Bob Marley that I would have thought was interesting. But again, I'm not the target demographic, so maybe people who like Bob Marley really like this movie. I would love to hear from somebody who's a Bob Marley fan to tell me if they thought that this movie nailed it. In fact, if you see this movie and you just really liked it, please let me know. Let me know what I'm missing and what was really good about it to you. I'm going to give this movie a D+. It's not something I think I'll revisit. It's not bad in any way. I know it sounds D+, sounds like I'm just saying it's a bad movie. It's just mostly nothing about it that I found particularly interesting and want to revisit. So D+ is kind of like, it was fine, but I think just for somebody else, not for me.